Is Ryan Poles looking to bring in a former sack champion? What's up, guys? Swift here. The Bears have a lot of connections with a free agent pass rusher who had 9.5 sacks last season and is familiar with both Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Matt Lombardo is reporting that Justin Houston is receiving significant interest from multiple teams around the league. The report says Houston is in no hurry to sign and is still weighing his options. However, I believe Ryan Poles and the Bears are definitely one of the teams in consideration. Why, you ask? Ryan Poles spent 13 years in Kansas City, going back just a couple of years before Justin Houston was drafted by the Chiefs. He was drafted in the 3rd round out of Georgia in 2011. Ryan Poles was on that scouting staff and would be very familiar with Justin Houston, having spent 8 years together in Kansas City. Houston went on to 4 Pro Bowls with the Chiefs and started 97 games, had almost 80 sacks as a Chief. He was also named a 1 All-Pro team after recording 22 sacks in 2014 and being the sack champion on that year. After Houston left the Chiefs, though, this is where things get even more interesting, as he signed for 2 years in Indianapolis and played defensive end for none other than Matt Eberflus. His 2 years in Indy were fantastic. He had 19.5 sacks, getting 11 in 2019 and 8 in 2020 before leaving Indy in 2021, signing a 2-year deal with the Ravens. He had 15 sacks over the last 2 years in Baltimore, including 9.5 last season. So Justin Houston is now a 34-year-old free agent with 111.5 career sacks. He spent 12 years in the NFL. 8 of those years with Ryan Poles in the Chiefs, and 2 years with Matt Eberflus in Indy. He makes perfect sense for Chicago. Unlike Yannick, he can play the run as well as get after quarterbacks. Even at age 34, he's still a threat to have 10 sacks. In the last 6 years, he's had at least 9 sacks in 4 of those seasons, and he's had at least 8 sacks in 5 of the last 6 years. He played last year in Baltimore on a 1-year deal worth $2.3 million. Considering our need at edge, I wouldn't be against giving Justin a lot more than that for just a 1-year deal. He's a perfect stopgap option who would instantly improve our defense and give us a legit pass rushing threat off the edge. Not to mention we have plenty of cap space to get a deal done, over $30 million. It would also allow Ryan Poles to evaluate the rest of this defensive line over the course of the 2023 season and then figure out what to do with his 2 first-round picks next year, most likely using 1 on a defensive end. I initially included Justin Houston on my top 10 free agents list that came out about 2 months ago. Everything has been quiet on the front since, but now after the draft and still having a hole at defensive end, bringing in Justin Houston makes perfect sense. We offer him an opportunity to play with Matt Eberflus, a coach he's familiar with, a GM he's familiar with, a young and exciting roster where he would have every opportunity to not only start, but make an impact on this defense. Chicago's a great place to play football. The defense is stacked with talent at every position except edge rusher right now. Justin Houston could also help our younger players out while also making our defense better immediately. Keep an eye out on this one, guys. I think it's a very realistic option, especially with reports coming out today that the Commanders would only trade Chase Young for a huge offer right now. They're being stingy with Chase Young, and Ryan Poles is not going to overpay. I think Justin Houston makes a ton of sense, and I would love it if Poles was able to bring him in. Stay tuned, guys. I have so much more coming. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down.
Swifty in the house!